Good morning, my lovelies, and welcome to my Flosstube. I'm Tan, the monogamous cross stitcher. So I thought I'd do a Flosstube today because I'm heading off to the Floss Friends retreat tomorrow. So I wouldn't have time to do one tomorrow, unfortunately. So I'm here today. It's been 13 days since I last uploaded. I'm trying to keep it to every sort of 2-ish weeks, depending if I throw in a stitch with me, which I haven't done for a while actually, but I will do one soon. So today, what have I got to show you? I actually finished Merlin last night. I say last night, it was the early hours of the morning. I could not go to sleep until it was done, because today I wanted to wash it straight away, get it dry, ironed, ready to take with me tomorrow. So I've got Merlin to show you, Oberon. I've also got a little bit of haul from when I went to Betty's Stitch Kit with a few of the friends from the Birmingham Crafty group. I also have my whips to show you. I did restart that temperature cell on the fabric that Megan sent to me. I have a little bit of progress on my enchanted Quaker, and also while I'm here I'm going to show you my bobbin floss organizer thingy. So the one night last week, was it one night last week, or the week before, well, in the 2 weeks that I've been gone, I had been out for the day. I think it was last week, because I had a very busy week last week. Literally every day I was doing something, and when I got home I was so, it's funny because you go out and about on these stitching days and you don't do a lot, you just sit and stitch and chat and eat and drink. But when you get home you feel so exhausted. I don't know if it's because we are doing nothing. So I had a few stitchy days out and about with friends, and I was absolutely exhausted. So I literally came back, had my tea, came to bed, and I was like, right, I want to stitch, but I just couldn't. I didn't have the capacity to sit and stitch at all, in all honesty. So I thought, right, what am I going to do? So I started bobbinating all of my threads onto my new Pip and Chips, which is for my Hocus Pocus. I stuck them all into my floss drop holder, my bobbin holder, and I'm very impressed. I'm very happy with how thin and compact it still is. Now, I realised I made a bit of a boo-boo, so I basically didn't tell Ebony that I was using the acrylic bobbins and that they are just a little bit thicker than the normal plastic ones. So some of them are quite tight, but obviously PVC does tend to loosen after a while, so I'm not concerned about that because I love it, and she's done an absolutely fantastic job. So I will show you that later on. I don't think this video is going to be as long as the last one because I don't have quite as much to show you as I did last time, because obviously I was away for a month. But I am trying to keep these videos to every 2 weeks if I can, unless I do a stitch with me, which I haven't done for a while, but I do plan to do one soon. So yeah, right, let's get into it, shall we? So first of all, I want to show you my finish. So this was the early hours of this morning. Now, I don't know if you'll recognise that I am back upstairs because the last Flosstube was not very good lighting wise. The lighting is a lot better in here for showing you stuff, so just as I gathered all my stuff to go downstairs, I was like, oh yes, I wasn't going to do it downstairs, was I? So that works better for me. So if you remember, this was the one that I had problems with the fraying of the fabric. So basically I lost a little bit of his paw. People, cross stitchers in general, kept telling me not to worry about the paw, it's all good, you know, it's got the main bits on it that needs to be seen, and it can just look like it's tucked behind the frame mount. But then I'd have other people get into my ear and say, oh no, you've worked so long on it, you can't leave that bit out because, you know, you've worked on it for such a long time, and, you know, can't you sew a bit of fabric and do this and do that? And I've done everything and none of it has worked. So because I've worked so long on this, because it was my first regular, it was quite confetti heavy. It took me, all in all, I think it was about, before the pause, before I stopped working on it, it was about 2 years and so many months, and then it's taken me 3 weeks to finish. So I think I'll work it all out and I'll pop it on my Instagram, or I'll even edit it here. So this is how long it's taken me all in all, which is quite good to say it was my first regular. I have obviously gotten faster because I stitched my welcome home in a 1.5 years, so I'm obviously getting faster now. I'm getting used to full coverages and things, but obviously confetti, it also depends on confetti as well. Anyway, so let's show you him. So this is him finished. So it looks like I haven't got a lot of space to show you, so I'm going to show that's the top half and that's the bottom half. You see what I mean about the paw? But in my personal opinion, I don't think it looks too bad, in all honesty. I think it looks fine. It just looks like the picture is finished there, because as you can see, he's got all the main elements in him. You know, you can see the wand, you can see his body, his hat, everything. So I'm not concerned. I'm happy with that, really happy with that. I am completely chuffed to bits with him. Obviously I was gutted at the time when I saw what happened, but you learn from your mistakes, and I will always prepare my fabric now. I will never ever stitch without preparing my fabric. So that's all Bron, all done, and I will put him in a nice little bath once we have finished this video. So, right, whips. So that was obviously the only finish, because I haven't actually been working on anything else. I did stop briefly to start my temperature sew because my fabric came, so I wanted to get that started, and I'm loving the fabric more. I'm finding it a lot easier to stitch on because obviously I'm used to the count, and yeah, I'm just loving it. So I'm going to show you the temperature sew first. Right, so I've done 9 days worth. Okay, so this is where we are. So Megan gave me an option of grey fabrics, and this was the one I chose because, as you can see it on the camera there, it looks quite grey. So I was like, oh yes, I like that one because it's quite grey, but in real life it's got like a yellowy, it's grey but it's got like yellowy tinge to it. So I was a bit concerned because I wasn't overly keen at first, but I thought, right, I'm just gonna go for it, and I love it. So that's how I've got so far. It's 9 days worth. And this is what it's going to look like when it's completed. Bar the colours will be slightly different because obviously temperature. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. It's stitching up really nicely, and yeah, so I'm very, very happy with that. I'm going to take that one with me to the retreat. So that's that one. I haven't worked on my Halloween Quaker at all, but when I went to Rich's the one weekend, because I didn't really want to lug my Oberon all the way to Hereford, I decided to take this one with me, and I've done quite a lot on it actually. So this is what it looked like before on the last Flosstube, and this is what it looks like now. So I've done quite a bit actually. I'm aiming to finish the little bit up here, probably start on the little bit in here, and then I'm going to move it across because I've reached the top and I've reached the bottom. So that's how it's looking now. So I'm pretty happy with that still. I'm loving that. Still very much enjoying it. So that is coming to the retreat with me as well. Yes. So those are the only whips I currently have at the moment. So my plan is to finish Enchanted Quaker, and then I'm going to carry on Halloween Quaker. But I may be ever so slightly tempted to start something new at the retreat. So my wonderful friend Rosie Cxcbytan brought me a birthday pattern last month, and she got me this one, and as soon as I saw it I was like, oh, I like that. I loved the clock, the forest animals, I just loved everything about it. I really want to do a lung dog or something like that, after seeing my friend Carol's pandemic at Devon in February. But I really wanted to do a lung dog that has cats on it mainly. I looked all through the website and there's just nothing that jumps at me. But when I saw this modern folk embroidery, I just loved it. So she got me that so very kindly. So I may very well start that at the retreat, because I have that lovely light blue fabric that I brought from my friend at one of the stitchy days last month. I also have some thread waiting for me to be picked up from the Stitchy Ferret, and I have a frame. So I might take the stuff with me and see how I feel. We shall see. So that could very well be a new start, but decisions. Just gonna take a quick drink. I don't have a coffee yet because I literally got up about an hour ago, no, half an hour ago, and decided, right, get sorted, do a Flosstube, and then I've got a busy day dyeing my hair. So great fun. It's going to take me about 6 hours all in all. Yeah, a few stages I have to do, but yeah, the joy. At least I'd only have to do it every 4-ish months, so that's not too bad. So that's the reason for the state of my hair today. But what can you do? So anyway, haul, I think. So I've done finishes, whips, haul. Right, I also actually want to introduce some. I was watching Kayla's and Lauren's video, the latest one they released before they went on holiday, and they did a Flosstuber shout out. So I do actually want to introduce that, because I would never used to watch Flosstube. Anyone that knows me off Flosstube never watched Flosstube at all. And then I was surrounded by many Flosstubers in July, and I was like, I'm going to give this a go. 5 Flosstubes later, here I am, and I'm really quite enjoying it, I must admit. And I'm not hugely easily enabled, but I'm really quite enjoying watching what other people are stitching as well. So that's quite fun. So I do actually have some Flosstubers I would like to mention, which I'll probably most likely do in each video as well, just to give them a nice shout out. I have mentioned a few of them in the past, so I'll probably start off with them obviously in this Flosstube and then carry on from there. So, and my usual books, TV and films right at the end for anyone that's not really bothered about any of that. Right then, so let's get on to haul. Now, a while ago, I brought scissors from AliExpress, as you all saw in the previous Flosstube. Along with the scissors, I actually brought this too. Now, quite a few people had never seen this before, and they were like, oh, what's that? That looks cool. It is really quite cool, actually, because if you're doing, well, not even a full coverage piece, but if you're doing a piece that only requires like 10 colours and it's quickly changing, then you can pop them in this. So you just pop your bobbin in there. It's very handy when you're doing a full coverage and you're confettiing on like 10 colours or so, and you just pop them in there, so you don't have to keep getting them out of your box. It's great, absolutely great. It works with the thin ones and the acrylic ones too. So yeah, I think it only cost a couple of quid. It wasn't very expensive, so yeah. And it sits lovely just in front of my tablet as well, so fantastic. So that's basically that. Right, my haul. So we actually have a shop in Quarry Bank, not far from here. It's a bit of a trek for me to get to, but the lovely Jess has offered, she's heading up to Retford early today to see a friend first, I think near Leeds, and then she's heading to Retford tomorrow. So she kindly offered to take my suitcase up for me. So me and Kate met up with Jess in Birmingham, and she drove us to Quarry Bank. And I wasn't going to buy a lot. Actually, I haven't really brought a lot, to be honest. I won a £10 voucher on the raffle, so I spent the remaining amount on that on some needles, and I managed to get some fabric and a pattern. Now, you all know don't know if you know by now, but I'm quite picky when it comes to what I like to stitch. So since watching Flosstube, I've actually found quite a few people with similar tastes who don't like to stitch people. They only like to stitch animals and Halloweeny stuff, and very similar to me. So that's quite cool. So anyway, I got some needles first. Now, Sharon, the owner of the shop, she introduced me to these needles. So I got some out of my raffle money at the Quarry Bank Stitchy Day. And they are absolutely fabulous needles. So I think they're about £3 something for this, for 6 needles, which is quite a lot cheaper than I pay for the Easy Guide. I found with the Easy Guide needles, they're not great for stitching on linen because they keep catching. So they don't find the one hole, they find many holes, which isn't good. So these are fantastic for stitching on linen. Highly, highly recommended. I have been stitching with these on linen and I have been enjoying them. And they're just a nice size in your fingers as well, because sometimes needles can feel like really short. So these are perfect. So these are size 26. I always use size 26 to 28 because I very rarely stitch on anything lower count. So I've got those, which are really good. I also got this little pattern. Now it does have both these patterns in it, which is quite good. And I thought, I saw someone one of the Flosstubers I was watching had a Halloween display. I'm really sorry I can't remember her name, and I absolutely loved a Halloween display. So that is my future goal. So when I'm in my house, I want to have a little display with Halloweeny things. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, need that. So, and then it's got a couple of little buttons on the back, and that's another one in the series as well. So possibly in the future I'll find that one and do that one as well. But yeah, love that. Now fabric, I got from there. She has quite a selection of fabric, endless amounts, all different types. I was actually thought, oh, I'll see if I can get some. I've been after a specific colour for a while. I'd seen quite a few on Etsy, and there were dyed fabric is really quite expensive, as we all know, but it does really add to projects like Quakers and things if it's not full coverage. And I saw this and I loved it, so I found that my sweet spot on linen at the moment is 28 count. I haven't delved any higher yet. I do have 32 count, but I haven't delved into that yet. So this cost me £24 for a metre. Now I could use this for about 5 different patterns that I've accumulated over the last couple of months. So I'm not going to hold the whole thing up because it is quite big, but I'm going to try and get that mottling in. So this, I don't know if it's showing, but it's called Vintage Mocha 28 count linen, and it's like light and dark mottling. It's picking up sort of true, but it's making it look a lot lighter on the camera than it is in real life. But it is very nice, and it's a metre, so it's huge. So this will be able to do loads of the patterns, because a lot of the patterns I've got recently, they all would look nice on like this vintagey looking, rustico looking type fabric. So I'm pretty chuffed with that. Absolutely over the moon with that. So I can't wait to use that. I think that's all my haul. Yes, there was only 3 items, and then that one I forgot to show you. So yeah, that's that. Right, I am going to show you my bobbin thing then. So you all remember I was after someone to make this for me. Finally found a lady. She'd never made one before. She'd made a smaller version before, but she says, I'll have a go and I'll do it in book style. And I was like, oh yes please, and she came through. So if you watch my last Flosstube, you'll be familiar with this. So this is my floss pudding, and this holds 100 bobbins for my Hocus Pocus full coverage when I get round to stitching that. I have started it briefly, just to start, because I hate prepping and starting, so I like to make a little start. So I have made a little start, but I haven't got round to starting it properly yet. So, how amazing does that look? Now, some of these are empty, these bobbins, because I haven't got the colours, so I will be getting those soon. But just look at that. It just looks completely amazing. And, you know, the middle ones are not too bad actually to get in and out. It's more so the bottom ones that are a bit of a tight squeeze. But obviously they'll get a bit looser with time. But you know, I'm really happy with it, and it's fine, and it just means that I can use it with any bobbins, so it's all good. But I am chuffed to bits with that, and it compacts really small as well. So if and when I do travel with Hocus Pocus, it will be a lot thinner than that plastic thing, and a lot more versatile and whatnot. So yes, I'm very, very happy with that. So that's that. I think that's all of the stitching. I don't really have anything else stitchy related to talk about actually. No, that's literally everything. I knew it was going to be a short-ish video. I have actually only read one book. I've watched a lot more TV and films, but that'll come through in a bit. So before we move on to that, I just want to shout out a couple of Flosstubers who I've recently discovered and been enjoying. So a couple of these. Okay. Right then, so the ones I have been watching since July are obviously, I'm going to go in order of A to Z because I can. So I have been watching Belushi Stitches, so that's Joe. I have been watching Cardiff Stitcher Danielle. Crazy Cat Lady Stitches. Cross Stitch Midwife. Flossabilities. Okay. Just So Sherry. Mad Morty and the Brom. Mama Loves You GB. Rosie X Stitches. Oh, Penguin Cross Stitch. Cross Stitch, Pearls and Ponderings, Soph, Stitching with My Litly, Suki the Brown-Eyed Stitcher, Talking Dog Stitcher, the Okie Stitcher. And that's all I'd been watching since July. Most of those are ladies that I have met at retreats and had conversations with, and some of them are really quite close friends now. So really been enjoying that. That's been lovely. And then some of the ones I have started watching since watching other Flosstubes that have been recommended are Cam the Stitcher, who was recommended by South, Crafty Rogue Gamer, I met her at Crew in April, Cross Stitch Bunny, the lovely Lauren, Holly the Cross Stitcher, recently found that she had a Flosstube, it's been going for years, Julia Stitches, Leah's Cross Stitch Corner, Michelle Bendy Stitches, Michelle Bendy Stitchy, I should say, Sarah, oh no it's not, sorry, it's, where is it? It's Stitching Jet, who's fairly new, so I've been enjoying hers as well. And anyone else that I've been watching, Silver Bunny Stitches, Tattooed Stitcher, Wolf Down the Rabbit Hole. So those are the ones I have currently been watching quite often. Did I mention Cross Stitching Smiles? I think I did. I've been watching those since July as well, when I met them at Rotherham. So those are the Flosstubers that I have currently been watching and enjoying on my list of Flosstube YouTube. So I've been enjoying those, and I think it's always nice to give a little shout out to, you know, a lot of effort goes into these YouTubes, the filming and the editing and all that jazz, and then YouTube has been a bit of a pain lately, not wanting to upload when it's meant to upload. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the bum at the moment, but you know, I do really enjoy doing these. Actually, I love sharing what I've done and what I am planning to do. Future plans. My future plans are to finish my Enchanted Quaker. Now I've finished my Merlin, I do plan to try and do quite a bit of my temperature cell. Struggling with words today. To try and catch up with that, because it's this year's and we're halfway through. No, we're not halfway through November. We're quite a distance through November already. It's the 9th of November today, so this year is just absolutely zooming by. So I'm trying to get caught up on that as much as possible now. So I'll probably stitch a little bit on those today to get those done. In between dyeing my hair. Yeah. And I might have a new start at the retreat tomorrow. I'll take the stuff with me and see how I go. I might not, because I don't know why. It stresses me out having all the whips, and I like them done. Now I do only have, not counting the active whips I've got, I do only have 3 other whips, and that's my Ravenclaw crest, my little steampunk cat, and my mini brush with magic, which is a full coverage. I am trying to get those finished as I go, so maybe I might start working on my steampunk cat and try and get him finished, because he's only tiny. He's only about this big, really, so it won't take long to do, really. I could probably get him done in a few days. It's just the back stitch really puts me off, but doing it as I go isn't as bad. So this is where I don't have a load of starts. And plus, when I was trying to rotate between starts, I ended up stitching on one thing continuously. So that's why I don't bother really. But I do have a lot of patterns gathering ready to start. But it is nice to have something other than full coverages to stitch. So that's quite nice. That's quite nice. Yeah. So anyway, that's my future plans really, is to finish those and then possibly a new start. So if you were only here for the stitching, thank you for coming and watching again, and if you're new, thank you for dropping by. I do appreciate it. It's nice to see people coming and watching me waffle on about random stuff in between the cross stitching stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for coming, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, take care, bye. Right, books, TV and films. I have only read one book in the month of October. I am actually disgusted because October is my favourite month because it's my birthday month, obviously, and because it's spooky season. I love Halloween and everything to do with Halloween, the dressing up, horror, gore, love it. So I was absolutely hell-bent I was going to read 6 books. I read one, and that was the book club book, and I probably wouldn't have read that had I not been in a book club. So this was the book I read. This was The Maid's Diary. Now, this was my book club pick for the month. I chose 4 books, or was it 5? I chose 5 books. I chose a thriller, a crime, a fantasy and 2 horror books, and the thriller won. So this was brilliant. I did really enjoy it actually. Lots of twists and turns. It's about this maid who she enjoys snooping into people's lives and houses and things, and it's very cleverly written. We'll put my teeth back in. So I really enjoyed this. The ending was not what I expected, but to be fair, it wasn't a bad ending at all. I expected it to be a little bit more the way Frida McFadden's books are. But I think this is only her first or second book. So to be fair, I did really enjoy it, and I do recommend it, especially if you're one of these that loves twists and turns and not knowing what's going to happen next and all that jazz. So yeah, very, very much enjoyed that. Highly recommended. That was the only book. So we'll move on to TV next, because I think that's a little bit less than the film. No, it's not. It's not less than the films I've watched. I'm sorry, I've been binging. But I know some of you do appreciate some recommendations. So obviously, if you're here for that, then you'll love this. Got loads of them. So the TV I watched has been School Spirits, which is this one. I actually saw this advertised on Paramount I think it was, and I wrote it on my list because I have a list on my notes on my phone. Yeah, love a list. So I wrote a list on my phone, and then I went, oh, looking for something to watch. Found that. Brilliant. Loved it. It's about this girl who's died, and she's trapped in the school with other spirits that have died over the years. But she can't remember her death, and the other spirits help her try and figure out how she died and basically what happened. And oh my god, the end of season 1, they need to hurry up and bring out season 2, because it's like, oh my god, It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Quite a few people slated it online, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So, highly recommended if you're into like paranormal type stuff. It's not scary or creepy. It's just a normal program. They don't look like ghosts. They just look like people. So, yeah, really good. Really enjoyed that. The second one I've been watching with Rich actually for a few weeks, and I forgot to mention, was American Horror Story Delicate, which is this one. I started watching American Horror Story when it first started. I think this is season 12 now, and I thought it was, whoa, this is a little bit out there, you know. It's not stuff that you would expect to see. And I thought, oh, it's definitely an acquired taste. Each series is based on things that have happened in America, really. So you've got the smiley face killers featured. You've got there was all that stuff about, what's his name, that president with the funny hair. Oh, I can't think for the life of me, but if I remember, I'll post it here. Yeah, there's all different basically stories based on what's happened in America, and they put their spin on it, and it's really, really good. I love it. This one is pretty good actually. It's based on a book actually, which is different really for American Horror Story. So once I've watched the series, I will read the book, because I don't want to read the book and ruin the end of the series. But when we come to watch episode 6 at the weekend, we noticed that it hadn't been on for a couple of weeks, and we thought maybe America are a bit late in getting it on the TV. And then I looked on IMDb and saw that it's not starting again until 2024. Why did they do that? Why did they give off half the season and then be like, you'll have to wait for the other 6 episodes? Why did they do that? I hate that. So now we're rewatching Sabrina, but I'm not going to go into that because I watched that a hell of a long time ago, so there's no point. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, by the way, which is very good as well. So once I'd finished School Spirits, I watched that a while ago actually, I just forgot to mention it. I started watching The Secrets of Sulphur Springs, which is on Disney, and this one. Now, at first I looked at it and I thought, oh, this is going to be very kiddie-like, very young adult, not really something I'm interested in. But I thought, you know, it sounds intriguing, so I'll give it a watch. And it was very good actually, very, very good. It's about this family that move into this old hotel, and basically they want to do this hotel up and get it running how it was running years ago. But there's ghosts that don't want that to happen, and these children, it's not really a spoiler because it happens in the first episode. So these children find a old bunker in the basement of the hotel, and it's a time machine, and it takes you 30 years into the past. So they end up in the past, and basically they meet their parents as children who used to stay in the hotel years and years ago. So, and then it unravels from there, but it is very good, and I highly recommend this as well. I think I watched this in 3 nights because the episodes are quite shortish, so they finish quite quickly. But yeah, highly recommend that. Very much enjoyed that. And then the last one I've watched, I've got to find another one now because I finished this last night, was Creeped Out, which is this one. Now, this is on Netflix, 2 seasons. I started this not last night, the night before. quite short-ish episodes. I don't think they're half an hour. They're probably 45 minutes, I think. And if you like the likes of Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark and Eerie Indiana, you'll very much enjoy this. Each episode is based on something different and it's really good. I really enjoyed it actually. I devoured it in 2 nights. That's how much I enjoyed it. Definitely recommend that as well. So I think that was everything for TV. Films. I have watched a few horror films actually, with it being spooky month last month. Me and Rich go through phases of we either watch a crap ton of films or we watch no films for months. I find that when I'm with Rich, I don't stitch very much, so my hands get very tetchy. But now he doesn't mind me stitching while we watch stuff, so I'll watch anything and everything, just throw it on the TV as long as I can happily sit there and stitch, you know what I mean? So I'm quite happy that I get to sit and stitch while we watch stuff, so that makes me very happy. So the first film we've watched, I actually have already seen this, but Richard never seen this before, which is The Orphan, First Kill. This is a really good film. I watched this a while ago. Now, if you've seen The Orphan, I'm not going to tell you the gist of her, but it's basically a prequel to what happened in the first film. So this prequel. This basically explains why she's where she is now in the last film. Hope I haven't confused you too much with that. But yeah, good film. Very much enjoyed it. Highly recommended. The second film we watched on... This was what we watched on Halloween night, actually. So the second film we watched on Halloween night was The Nun 2. Now, this was only in the cinemas not so long ago, actually. Was going to watch it with my sister. Never actually got round to it, so me and Rich watched it. Luckily, my sister doesn't watch my Flosstubes, thankfully. She's not really interested in cross-stitch, so that's a good thing. So I watched The Nun 2. That was really good as well. Really enjoyed that. Quite a few jump scares, which we all like. You love a bit of jumping. If you like me, you like to be jumping about all over the shop at every single shadow. But yes, very much enjoyed that. Highly recommended. It's basically... It doesn't really... It doesn't delve into who the nun is, but sort of... If you've watched the first one, you'll understand the second one. But you do need to watch the first one. So, yeah, that's that. Okay. Just take a quick drink. So, the third film we watched, we actually saw the trailer for this in the cinema a while ago. And... I was a bit unsure because the trailer looks absolutely pants, if I'm being honest. Was this one? Talk to me. So this is basically about a girl. She lost her mum and she's at a party with a group of people. And these two guys have a hand... a porcelain hand, and apparently when you hold on to it and tell it to talk to me, then you contact the dead. Yeah. So, and you hold on to this hand while you're in contact with that person, and then you blow the candle out and break contact, and that's that. but they film you and only keep you under the influence of the hand for about a minute, I think it was. And this girl becomes obsessed with it, so you can see how that's going to go. But we actually really quite enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, actually. I didn't the trailer doesn't portray what the film actually is. Normally you watch a trailer and you're like, oh wow, that looks good, and then you watch the film and you're a bit like, yeah, that was a bit not very good. And then, but this was the other way around, actually. The trailer didn't appeal to me, but I really enjoyed the film, so highly recommend that. The next film I watched was Five Nights at Freddy's, which was released in the cinema, I think it was in October, or was it the beginning of this month? Beginning of this month, I think it was last week. Yes, so I watched that. Now again, with this, the trailer looked okay, but not as good as what I expected. But the film was brilliant. It had a story behind the actual story, which is always good. Really enjoyed that. I can't really say too much about it, but this man is basically looking after his baby sister. I say baby sister, she's a child, and he gets a job as a security guard in this old it's like I'm guessing it's like a pizzeria, and it's got like arcade type machines and things in there as well. So yeah, and things start happening in there, but there's these animatronics start taking a life of their own, but there's an hidden backstory, which I can't really go into because it will spoil it, so I'll highly recommend that if you want to see that. So that was Five Nights at Freddy's, which was very, very good as well. Some other films I've been watching, but I'm not going to really dive into them because it's self-explanatory really. So me and Rich every so often like to do like some film marathons of like one complete series. A month or so ago we did the complete Scream franchise. We've done shark films in the past, and at the moment we are doing Saw. I think we did Insidious as well not so long ago, so now we're doing Saw. So we have currently, after seeing Saw X, which is Saw number 10, which I recently found out, I'm not very good with Roman numerals, so I didn't even realise it was Saw 10. I just saw X, but there you go. Okay. So we have so far watched, I've watched all these before, but we're rewatching them. So we watched Saw 1, 2 and 3. If you know, you know. It's basically John Kramer, and he's teaching people a lesson. Well, making them prove that they deserve to live their life by putting them in traps and things. But yeah, it's nice to watch them again, actually, because I haven't watched them for so long. I'm like, oh, I can't remember that happening, you know. So it's quite good sometimes to go back to old films and rewatch them. So that's what films I have watched. So that's everything really, all the films, TV and books. I'm still not doing great on the book front this month either. I'm still halfway through the book I started the beginning of October. I have actually brought some books with the credits on my audiobook, so I'm hoping to try and read a little bit more this month. I think the problem is because I've had the house to myself during the day, then the temptation of sitting downstairs and putting the TV on and then watching loads of stuff, rather than normally I'd be upstairs out the way listening to my audiobook. So that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, so that's basically everything. Everyone, thank you very much for joining me. This video isn't as short as I expected it to be, but it's still fairly short. I'm going to go and get sorted for tomorrow. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will catch you in the next one. If you're a non-subscriber, I would very much appreciate you subscribing, because, well, you get notified when I upload a video. Well, if you press the little bell, you do anyway. So I would very much like you to like this video if you want to, and subscribe. I would very much appreciate that. And definitely check out the Flosstubers I mentioned. I do very much enjoy watching their videos and content. So in that case, I'm going to say goodbye, take care, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, bye everyone.